What's up, everybody? Thank you for subscribing to my channel and all you new subscribers. We're not working on this today. I'm actually working on this, a 1972 Ford Bronco. It's my parents or my dad's neighbors. Today we're going to be doing a few things to it. It's a 72 Bronco. It's pretty much original except for the wheels and tires and a few little add-ons, and he cut out the rear fenders like everybody does. But I'm going to be swapping out this bumper, putting on the chrome bumper that came on it, doing away with that because he's not towing it behind a motorhome. And let's see, the shifter in it. It's a three speed on the floor now. It was on the column, as you can tell. But when you go from first to second, you feel like you're going in reverse. It's so close to reverse. I'm going to see if I can adjust that out a little bit. I know those are hard to adjust, so I'm going to see what I can do with that. And needs a pinion seal. The pinion seal is leaking in it pretty good. And the brakes, it has an aftermarket brake booster on it, but it has no brakes at all, hardly. Alright, it might be a little dark underneath here, but already taking the end caps off the drive shaft right here, as you can see. I got the other one to do. One of the nuts on here was finger tight. It's a little sketchy, but I'm going to take the other end cap off this U-joint, and we're going to slide the drive shaft out. What I like to do with drive shafts is I'll take a bungee cord and run it the length of the vehicle or around the leaf spring or something, and let the drive shaft rest on it while I take out the pinion seal. So I'm going to take the drive shaft, finish taking it out, pop it off, and we'll work on getting this flange off. It's kind of hard to see, it's dark underneath here, but I got the drive shaft off. It's hanging right here, as you can see. It's not going to go anywhere. I got some tape around the U-joint there so the little caps don't fall off. I didn't normally do that with electrical tape, but I didn't feel like getting up and finding it because my masking tape was just right there. So I'm going to take my impact right here. I'm going to put it on the nut and reverse it out. Ooh. Just like that. Now we're going to slide this yoke off just like that. I took a chisel, took it right here in the corner right here, knocked the seal out. There it goes. Out with the bad seal. I'm gonna let that drain out for a little while. I'm gonna look in there with a light. It looks like everything looks alright though. New seal is installed. Went on there really easy. Got it installed. So next I'm going to reinstall this bad boy. Just like that. I'm going to get the nut, we're going to torque it down. Pinion seal is done. I'm going to pull it out here on this concrete so I can see what I'm doing. Scotch this wheel off. We'll look underneath here for the shifter linkage. Alright, so I pulled the shifter little side cover off here. I've been looking down in here, going over all this. I got it all loose. I took this apart, lubed all inside here, but I noticed when I crawled underneath there, looking at the shifter linkages here, that go to the transmission. For one, the reverse and first linkage was about to fall off the transmission. The nut was gone and the linkage was just wedged in there. So put a new nut on it, or I found a nut, put it on there, tighten it down. And this linkage, both these linkages right here where they screw into the bottom of the hurst shifter, they were way off. One was longer than the other, so basically what that means is you have to have both these little shifting rods right here, this rod that goes up through here and this one right here my finger's on, you have to have those in a neutral position. This one, say you're going from first to second, this rod will have to be in a neutral position for this rod to move, you know what I mean, to go to second to third, and vice versa. So when one of these is off, then the other one, and it tricks it into thinking it's not in a neutral position. So I'm hoping that might have fixed his problem. So I'm going to put all this back together. You got two nuts to hold this shifter on the side of the transmission here, and you got one nut. That's kind of a trick to get on here. I don't know if you can see it down there, but a little trick I know that I'm sure you all know watching is take you a magnet and hold the nut on there. I did it with the washer and put it on the very end there, and you can start screwing it. I can't do it with one hand, but start screwing it on there. Don't cross thread it, but start screwing it on there and it will go, and then you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, I'm going to put this back together and maybe take it on a test drive. Well, I just got back from a test drive. Shifter's fixed. Whoever put that in there had linkages way off. Shifts great. So I think we're going to go on to the front bumper. Bolts And she should come right off. Oh, maybe not. About to come off. Would y'all be so nice to be over to catch that for me? There you go. Ah, God almighty. That is a heavy bitch. Bumper's off. What do you think? Does that not look cool? It looks a whole lot better, I think, with that chrome bumper back on it rather than that big, heavy, steel plated turd. But anyway, I got that bolted back on. I even painted the front of the frame behind the bumper where it was a little bit rusty. I just sanded it and painted it off like a good neighbor I am. So, and I polished the bumper up too. As you can see, it's polished now. So, it's getting dark. I gotta get home, take care of my family. I guess it's gonna be the first part of this video. I'll see you guys in a second. Welcome to day 2, back on the Bronco. I've been looking it over a little bit. I went over the air filter and stuff. I was checking the fluids. I tightened down the valve covers because all these old engines like this, all the valve covers come loose. Changing out the brake fluid, swapping that over, cleaning all that, and getting new in there. So I'm going to try to bleed the brakes. I'm trying to hurry up and get all this done before it starts raining because there's supposed to be rain moving in. Here's a quick tip. If you pouring brake fluid into your master cylinder, you don't want it to all pour out really fast and everything. Just take it and poke half a hole in the lid there, and when you go to fill it up, it doesn't pour out as fast. It doesn't make a big mess. Just a little tip. One thing I cannot stand when people do to vehicles when they're working on them is crap like this. I don't like that at all. It just looks like crap. I mean, it works, but well, I bled the brakes, took her on a test drive. I really don't think that the rear brakes are grabbing. I think they're way out of adjustment. So I'm going to take it apart, or we're going to jack it up and put a jack center there and check out the rear brakes, see what I can figure out on that. So let's get that started. Well, she stops better, not the best in the world, but it stops. I mean, front tires will lock up. So I got the rear brakes adjusted and everything. So now the last but not least on the list of things to do is this fuel line going in right here. As you can see it on that radiator hose, it's just kind of hanging there and it goes right into the carburetor. Well, this is becoming a little bit of a cluster. It's a couple days later. I had to leave early. My son has a little bit of a medical emergency. Not a big deal. Everything's good. So back on this thing, I pushed it out and I fixed his fuel line. It's not laying against the radiator now, where it was. You can see the line right there, where it was just laying there and it turned in, went in there and just rubbing. So that's fixed. I shortened it a little bit so it'd bring it in closer to the carburetor, and I just took a little hose clamp, hold down thingy dealio right here, and I just bolted it right there in the water pump, in the water pump. Good enough for now. You should be happy with that. So next, we need to work on the temp gauge. It doesn't read, or sometimes it reads, sometimes it doesn't. I'm thinking it's the sender. So I'm sending unit little thing. So I'm going to pull this wire off on the sender right here, so I can't slide it off. I'm going to ground this out, and we'll turn the gauge on and see if it pegs out. I'm going to take this little gator clip doodad on both ends. I'm going to clip one. I can't do this one-handed. Inside there like that. Then I'll take the other end. I'm just going to clamp it on this ground right here on the side of the block. There we go. That'll stay. Got that hooked on. Let's see what it does. Watch the gauge. Key switch. Key switch on. Let's see what it does. Yep, pegs out. So the gauge is good. The wire is good and everything's good. So I think he just needs a little sender. Here's another little trick I like to do on these, since we already checked the sender, is the connection on these Ford connector little push-on things right here. Sometimes they get corroded up like anything else would do. So what I normally do is I'll take a piece of sandpaper and I'll roll it up in a little ball and put it inside here like this, if I can get it in there, and I'll just twist it around and around and around until it cleans it up. I'll clean up the connection. This is what I've done for years. That's always worked for me. I'm sure other people have other ways of doing it, but that's what I do. And I'll slide it out, blow it out, It's pretty clean. You can see shiny brass in there. So I'm going to do the same thing to the sender unit here, and I'm going to plug this back up and see if that helps it. If not, we'll have to get him to get a little temp sender. Not a big deal. Other than that, I'm pretty much done with this thing. I'll let him drive it and see what he thinks. But I did notice this. I did kind of a jerk kind of thing. I haven't started this thing up and let you guys hear it run this whole time. I'm just sitting there thinking that just now, a few days later. So I'm going to put this back together. We'll start it up and let you guys hear this little 302 purr. Well, as promised, I'm going to start this thing up for you. Let's let her run. It's got dual Flowmaster mufflers on it. Sounds really good, just like they all do. Little 302 motor here. Sounds really good though. Fuel line doesn't move and all that stuff moves, so I guess we're good to go on that. I want to take it on a test drive and test out the temp sender and see how well it works. But I'm going to call it a video for now. I'll catch you ladies and gentlemen in the next one. Give it a like if you liked it. Take care.